The evening had fallen quiet over the suburban streets, the kind of calm that makes you lower your guard. But for one single dad and his curious little daughter, that calm was about to shatter. "Daddy, can we help her?" she asked, her eyes wide and innocent, pointing toward a stranger struggling just a few doors down. At first he hesitated. He was used to keeping his world small, safe, predictable. But something in her voice, a mix of worry and determination, stirred something deeper. He couldn't just walk away. Minutes later, he found himself standing between a stranger in trouble and the unknown danger lurking nearby. He had no idea that this small act of courage, driven by a simple plea from his daughter, would spiral into something far bigger than he could have imagined. That night, the air seemed charged with a tension that clung to his skin long after he'd returned home. The next morning, life as he knew it had changed. As he sipped his coffee, staring at his quiet street, his heart skipped a beat. 6 black SUVs, doors locked and tinted windows glinting in the sun, were parked directly across from his house. A chill ran down his spine. Who were they? And why were they here? One thing was clear. His decision to step in the night before had triggered a chain of events that would pull him and his daughter into a world they weren't ready for. And now, with the SUVs staring like silent sentinels, the question hung in the air: what would happen next? He watched from the window, gripping the edge of the counter, as his daughter played with her toys, completely unaware of the tension outside. His mind raced, trying to piece together what had happened the night before. The stranger he'd helped hadn't seemed like anyone dangerous, just a woman caught in an unfair situation. But now, looking at the SUV, he wondered if he had accidentally stepped into something much bigger. Memories of the previous evening came back vividly. The woman had been cornered, clearly scared, her voice trembling as she tried to explain herself. He had felt a surge of protectiveness, not just for her, but for the sense of justice his daughter had unknowingly awakened in him. That moment, small and fleeting, now felt like it had opened a door to something he couldn't yet understand. He thought about his daughter's question again. "Daddy, can we help her?" It replayed in his mind like a warning and a challenge all at once. He had wanted to teach her courage and kindness, but now he worried if his actions had put them both in danger. The SUVs weren't moving, and no one stepped out. The street that had always felt safe now felt like a stage, every shadow hiding a possibility. He couldn't tell if they were here because of him, or because of the stranger he had helped. His heart pounded as he realized that by acting on a simple act of kindness, he might have triggered a web of events he wasn't prepared for. And as the sun climbed higher, the SUVs stayed silent and unyielding, leaving him with more questions than answers. He paced the living room, glancing out the window every few seconds. The SUVs hadn't moved. Their dark windows reflected the morning light, like silent witnesses watching his every move. His mind was spinning. Who were they, and what did they want? Every possibility seemed worse than the last. He thought about calling the police, but something stopped him. The way the vehicles were parked wasn't random. Whoever was inside knew exactly what they were doing. His daughter tugged at his sleeve, her small hand warm against his. "Daddy, are they here for her?" she asked, pointing at the SUVs with wide, innocent eyes. He crouched to meet her gaze, forcing a calm he didn't feel. "I don't know, sweetheart, but we'll be careful," he said, hoping the words would protect both of them. Inside, he felt a cold knot of fear tighten. He tried to retrace the previous night. The stranger had seemed desperate, but polite, almost fragile. There had been a moment when she had whispered something he hadn't understood, but now he wished he had listened more closely. Maybe it would have warned him what was coming. Across town, he could imagine the woman's perspective. Maybe she didn't know the danger she had dragged him into. Or maybe she had, and he had been caught in a trap without realizing it. And what about the SUV? Were they a warning? Or a prelude to something far more serious? He sank into a chair, staring at the dark shapes outside. Every instinct told him to act, but every thought warned him to wait. The line between bravery and recklessness blurred, and he realized this one decision, stepping in to help a stranger, had created a storm he couldn't see the end of. The street stayed silent, but the tension hummed like electricity in the air, waiting to explode. By late afternoon, the tension had become unbearable. The SUVs still sat like dark sentinels, their engines silent but their presence heavy, pressing in on every corner of the street. Every sound, the distant bark of a dog, the screech of tires on a nearby road, made him jump. His daughter had grown quiet, sensing the unease in the air even if she didn't fully understand it. He tried to focus on ordinary tasks, making dinner, tidying up, but his mind kept circling back to the night before. The stranger's eyes had haunted him, a mix of fear and relief, like she knew the danger she was in and somehow trusted him to protect her. Could she have underestimated the people she was running from? Or had she, unknowingly, drawn danger straight to his doorstep? Each SUV seemed like a question mark. Was someone watching for his next move? Or were they waiting for the stranger to appear? The silence between them felt louder than any noise, a tense rhythm that made his heartbeat pound in his ears. He could almost feel eyes through the tinted windows, measuring, calculating, as dusk approached. He heard a faint click from one of the SUV's doors. His heart skipped a beat. Was it an accident? Or had someone stepped out to make their presence known? He instinctively moved closer to the door leading to his backyard, positioning himself to see without being seen. His daughter whispered, "Daddy, are they going to come inside?" He swallowed hard, realizing that every choice he made in the next few moments could change everything. The quiet street had become a stage for something far bigger than a single act of kindness. Outside, shadows shifted, engines hummed faintly, and the air seemed to crackle with anticipation. Whatever was about to happen, he knew one thing: nothing would ever be the same again. Just as he was about to take a cautious step toward the window, his phone buzzed on the counter. The screen showed an unknown number. He hesitated, his finger hovering over the answer button. When he finally picked up, a distorted voice whispered, "You shouldn't have helped her." The line went dead before he could respond. A chill ran through him, and he felt the room shrink around him. His daughter clutched his arm, sensing his sudden panic. "Daddy, who is that?" she asked, her voice trembling. He forced a calm he didn't feel. "I don't know, sweetheart, but we need to stay close. Okay?" Inside, he realized the danger wasn't just outside anymore. It had reached into his home, into the quiet space he had thought was safe. He turned back to the window and froze. One of the SUVs had started to move, slowly, deliberately. The tinted glass reflected the streetlights like a warning, and he could just make out a figure stepping out, tall, broad, and impossibly calm. Whoever it was, they knew him, they knew his routine, his house, even his daughter. Suddenly, another layer of fear struck him. What if the stranger he helped last night had lied? What if her problem wasn't just personal, but connected to something far more dangerous, something that now had him squarely in its sights? Every moment he hesitated made the stakes higher. The street that had once been a quiet backdrop to ordinary life had transformed into a tense battlefield. Engines hummed, shadows shifted, and the unknown figure started moving closer. He gripped his daughter's hand tightly, knowing that the next few minutes could change everything and that there figure's no turning back. The figure stopped at the edge of the driveway, and he could finally see the woman's face. She wasn't the stranger he had thought. Her expression was calm, almost defiant, as if she had been waiting for this moment. Before he could react, the other SUV's doors swung open, and a group of men stepped out. But instead of aggression, they froze, staring at him. Confusion and fear tangled in his chest. Then the woman spoke, her voice steady. "You saved me last night, and because of that, you earned my trust. But trust comes with responsibility. I need your help to end this now." His mind raced. This wasn't just about defending someone on the street. She was involved in something bigger, and by stepping in, he had become part of it. Suddenly, a flurry of motion erupted. The men from the SUVs moved to block the street, not as threats, but as protection. They weren't enemies, they were allies, here to ensure no one interfered with the operation they were trying to carry out. Relief mingled with shock as he realized the danger he had feared was misinterpreted. He took a deep breath and nodded, feeling the weight of the night pressing on him, knowing he had to act carefully. Together, they moved toward the center of the street, where a hidden van waited. Just as he felt the tension begin to ease, a new alarm pinged on his phone, another unknown number, another call. This time, the message was chilling. "You think it's over? It's only just begun." Even with the immediate danger resolved, he understood one thing: helping the stranger had changed his life forever, and the real story was only starting. The street was quiet again, but the shadows held secrets that would not stay hidden for long. The tension slowly began to fade as the last